The third block is just sheer avoidance. And I'm laughing because I think everyone, even some of the most wonderful financial investors, and I guarantee at some point, anyone, doesn't want to open it up and look inside and really face the facts of what has happened. And I think it's really important if we find ourselves so deeply disturbed and in discomfort and overwhelm, when we even think about looking into our finances, there has to be work done here. Like, there's no doubt about it. There is so much more going on than just the avoidance of the finances. It is adding a layer of stress to your life that it doesn't need to be there. And it's very, very easy to create comfortable money habits. We are going to go over eyes on numbers. That's what I call it. We're just looking at the numbers. We're just putting our eyes on the numbers. We are not attached. Our self-worth is not attached to the numbers that we're going to be looking at. And the ignoring in itself is still deciding. I do believe this. If we ignore our finances because we're trying to avoid a discomfort or an overwhelm, it is time to really dig in and see what else is going on around this, because that overwhelm, well, it could be gone really quickly, but also the overwhelm is basically highlighting to me that there is definitely a little something, a belief in there somewhere that there's a money block of some sort. And this discomfort and overwhelm comes back to the fear of not having enough and then feeling into the abundance. So we have to kind of pare it back each time, but we do have to have our eyes on the numbers. And money avoidance is probably one of the biggest blocks when it comes down from scarcity mindset, because money avoidance, we often label it in a way of lack of literacy or lack of knowing or lack of money education. But if you have a resourceful way of thinking and your brain is thinking in a resourceful way, your fear is lowered because you've been doing your body exercises and you're stepping in and looking at other ways to feel abundant other than money. Opening your bank account should be an exciting and enjoyable experience. Having eyes on numbers should be a process that's separate from your internal system. I want to explain that just a little bit more. So just bear with me, because I'm trying to think of the best way to put it. Because the key thing that highlights to me as a coach and living finances, when I am feeling so ignorant and avoidant of my finances because I don't want to face myself. I don't want to face what I've done. I don't want to face what past Lauren's choices have done. I don't really want to know about it. And I really don't want to look into myself. I don't want to face myself. And there's one thing that I always live by, and is that meet yourself where you are. We cannot change the past. How we view the past and our perception of the past is purely going to be the best aspect of what we can bring to the world. So from avoiding our money is where I'm looking. There are times when you can open up your numbers and have eyes on your numbers and it feel uncomfortable, but you still step into what that means. I actually get really anxious at tax time, and I find it very discomfort and not so much overwhelmed, but just a little something. But when we avoid it completely, isn't going to solve our problems. But if we sit in the discomfort and understand now when tax time comes, I think this is going to be a little unsettling, and I'm going to have to ask some really big questions, and I'm going to have to face some of my previous financial decisions. And I'm not sure how I'm going to react, but I need to know that the monetary system is separate from me, and I am not a reflection of my choices. Me as a person, as Lauren sitting here with you guys, is not a reflection of me as a person. So my money choices are something I did, and me as a person is still me. So we're often not shown how to use money, or we have a skewed view of what someone with wealth does. So we have somewhat, we might be in avoidance because we view, Joe Blogs down the street as being wealthy, and we don't associate ourselves to be like them. So we don't share the same money values. But if we look at it from like a micro level, there are probably times that Joe down the road or dude has experienced discomfort when in his money, like in a money journey. And that is just part of life. We are going to feel discomfort at some point. And if we want to make super duper money decisions, we really have to be having eyes on numbers. So if you do feel as though you have a money block around avoiding money, or you don't want to do the money because you feel as though there is going to be some real face-to-face self discussions going on, then we should definitely chat more about that. And maybe you should jump in and have a quick money mindset map conversation with me and create a bit of a strategy session, because often I find it's not necessarily about the money as such in relation to ignoring them, but it is to do with how we feel in our bodies. And as a coach, that is what I'm here for, is to create that safety and calm around doing just the basic financial jobs. So, and big ones later, but we've got to start somewhere. So if you are interested, then book in for that call and we can really map it out quickly for you. I think it's 45 minutes. Now, the next money block is self-worth, hand in hand. But what I find is that self-worth comes down to a success problem, not so much a scarcity problem. So we feel as though we are not someone who represents financial success or financial abundance or financial wealth. We might not look the way we think that a wealthy person should look, or we might not think that our lives could resemble what a wealthy person would do. And I want to talk to this on a few points. The first point is, often wealthy people don't look a certain way. And I want to tell you a story about this. And this story actually changed my whole mind about wealth, what people look like, how they live their lives. And I was working in Sydney in Double Bay at the Telstra shop, and I was a salesperson and I was selling phones. And one man came in to me and he had just like rugger shorts, like work shorts, and like a singlet or a dirty shirt. And he was probably in his 70s or 80s. And he came in and basically said, I need to get a few phones for my employees. They're going to be coming in one by one. So we kind of set up a plan and got it all organized, and it was pretty basic. Over this is how I remember it. Guys, this was 20 years ago, 20 freaking years ago, more, 4 years ago. And I remember the employees coming in. And as the story grew and I got to know the people, these were employees of a private yacht. There was the engineer and the person that drove the boat and the person who worked as the chef on the boat. And each of these people came in and they all looked super well presented and super put together. And it's just kind of blew my mind, because I thought, so is he like the head employer? Like who's who here? Who Who? What?" And being from a small town, I really just thought it was awesome to have someone and help be able to be of service to people who were working on a yacht. So I was pretty happy with I felt a bit fancy myself. But the story is that that guy was the owner of that yacht, and he was a very successful businessman. And in that moment, I learned a really valuable lesson because he did not look like a millionaire, and he was probably multimillionaire. Who knows? 100 million. I don't know. I didn't ask him. It wasn't an interaction. We had an amazing thing, and he even wrote me a beautiful letter that I still have to this day because of the service that I gave to his employees. And the thing is, what changed for me in that moment was that I stopped looking at people for what they had existing, and I started thinking about what a wealthy person looks like, what a rich person looks like, what a millionaire looks like. Because before that, I just thought that millionaires, rich people, wealthy people just look nice all the time. And the truth is, that's not the case. So sometimes I think we feel undeserving because our current situation doesn't resemble what we think a wealthy person should look like. And I want to put that in perspective is that sometimes I think it doesn't actually matter what the wealthy person looks like. If you wanted to make $1 million, you don't need to change who you are as a person, as a like visual construct, because each person is deserving of that wealth if they desire it. So I feel like feeling undeserving of financial success based on our self-worth is a huge block. That's just one little aspect of it. And I'm wondering if you can think about any other aspects of your life where your self-worth is kind of limiting your financial success because you believe you need to be a certain way or a certain type of person to have financial success or wealth or make more money or even have a higher threshold of money. And we will talk about energetic thresholds, but that's one thing that really blows my mind every time, that we need to really start understanding that wealth can look and present in many different ways.